Mark, and I'm half-ass ready.
All right, y'all. Welcome to the 0 Hour. Had a little bit of technical difficulty get going. Sorry we're late, but I'm going to get ready for the 0 Hour here. So let me introduce our guys. Ohio Valley Prepping.
Good evening, everybody.
Rural 2IC. And our extra special guest tonight, Dawg Prepping. So I hope y'all brought your questions and are all ready. So give me about, 30-something seconds and we'll get into this. Stand by.
0 hour strikes, the clock ticks down. Rise from the ashes, wear your crown. No fear, no chains. Break the mold, forge your destiny. Fierce and bold.
All right. So welcome back. And I think we're actually live now. So
Yeah.
We had a nice little practice session while y'all wasn't looking. So thank you to Mr. Thumbs Half-Ass Ready. So Dawg Prepping, introduce yourself. Let's tell everybody what you do.
I'm Dawg Pepper. I do a small channel about preparedness and gardening and survival stuff. Do a live Monday evenings at 8 p.m. Talk about a variety of different things and just enjoy doing what I do.
Well, we enjoy what you do, I promise. So anyway, so how about you, Ohio Valley Prepping? Let's talk about you for a second.
How you doing, guys? If you're new here, I'm Ohio Valley Prepping, and we do prepping, survival, and a little bit of everything. So good to see everybody tonight. I dropped Dawg Prepper's link in the chat, so make sure you're subscribed to him while you're at it. Sears TV, good to see you. Joel's, Chance, Nick, good to see everybody this evening.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Rural, talk about you.
Hello, everybody. I see a bunch of friendly, familiar faces and maybe a potential new person here or there. I am Rural. I have a channel as well, and I do my best to at least post something every single day. So if you're interested, pop on by, say hello.
All right. So again, y'all know how this works. We count on you guys in the chat to tell us what we need to talk about. Like I said earlier, when y'all couldn't hear, if y'all don't find something for us to talk about, you're just going to get to hear a bunch of old guys talking a bunch of crap. So just
Why?
Okay. Hey, look, we got a question right out of the gate.
Ooh.
So, Dawg, do you use a Faraday case for your generator or anything else?
Not for my generator. I have not even thought about looking into something that big. As far as other things, I have a small one for a couple radios and my tablet that I have a bunch of information on. So, and that stays in my safe, and that's about it.
Yeah. How about you, Rural? You Faraday cage guy?
Not for the big stuff, kind of like what Dawg said. I do have a smaller one where I've got a tablet and an old cell phone and things like that that's got backup data on it.
Right.
But yeah, that's definitely something to probably think about.
Yeah. Ohio Valley, how about you, buddy?
I actually don't have any Faraday cages. I like to keep actual written copies of all the information I got. And that way, and my thought process here is, like Rural was saying about, an old tablet, an old cell phone and that for backup information and that you're still going to have to charge that stuff.
Yeah.
And you may not be able to. So I'd rather just kind of go with the hard copy and then I don't have to worry about it.
You're right.
But that's just me. So,
Yep.
Well, I mean, y'all have heard me talking. Anybody that's followed my channel knows I built Faraday cages on my channel, and I'm into that. I'm into that EMP stuff. But the thing about cell phones is since 2002, cell phones have been required by the government to be shielded. Okay. So if you have a cell phone that's newer than 2002, and we all do,
Yeah.
it's shielded. Okay. How well it's shielded, who the hell knows? Hello, Wolfang. But, you know, I'm actually working on a Faraday cage for my generators. It's complicated. It's not like you just take a trash can like my original video and stick it in there, right? So, you know, but they do make Faraday cloth. Hold on here. Let's see what.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Look, this is a good one, and I want to hear what y'all think about this too. But I'll finish on the Faraday cage thing. But yes, I'm trying to Faraday cage my generator just in case. But again, if you're paranoid about EMPs, get all the information you can. Yeah, that's
Chance has a good one.
Comment right there. Let's go down the Faraday cage hole. It's the typical way to test your Faraday cage is put your electronics inside of your Faraday cage and try to call it, right? It's hard to test a generator inside a Faraday cage, right? So you just have to do things right and hope on some of this stuff because there's just not a lot of information out there.
Right. And JD's got
They
a
make
good point.
frequency generators that you can put a receiver inside of your Faraday cage and it will record what you're firing at it. But you're not firing, hello, Katrinka. You're not firing 80,000 volts, which a CME could shoot 80,000 volts. So any of our Faraday stuff may be completely useless. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Who knows? And then when you take it out, you might get another wave. Look, there you go. But
Right.
Dan H., good to see you, brother.
Mhm.
So let's go back to love and life thing, okay?
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of states, especially here in the South, are coming out. Let me find that question again. Are coming out with these new open carry things because that's what us rednecks want.
Mhm.
And you know, I have my theory on it, but I would like to hear yours, Dawg, on whether you would open carry or conceal carry if you were legal in your state to do both.
So here in Ohio, before they changed the law, they changed it to concealed carry for any Ohio resident without having a permit. But before that, I've had a concealed carry permit for quite a while now, and I concealed carry everywhere I go. If I'm not allowed to go in there with a concealed weapon, then I either don't go in there, or if it's something I have to do, then obviously then I need to put it in my truck in my lockbox. But I'm 100% carrying anywhere I go, traveling, everything. I do my research. Obviously, I know most states that I'm allowed to carry through or in, and I would conceal carry versus open carry because obviously it keeps people guessing, and I think it makes you. Some people say it makes you a soft target. I think it makes you a harder target because if you have an open carry, you become a softer target because they know you have it, and you take a chance of them grabbing you first versus them not knowing. So.
Mhm.
How about you, Rural?
I mean, I've given this a square bit of thought, and the only two rational things that I can come up with on why you would open carry is a show of force. You know, hey, look, I am coming. I know I'm showing it off. So, you know, kind of that whole thing. Or B, to be a faster draw. Now, it's not going to be that much faster, but if you are concealed carry, you do have to move whatever's concealing to get to it. Versus what Devil Dog said of, you know, yeah, I would most of the time rather you have to guess whether or not I'm carrying.
Yeah. How about you, OVP?
I feel the same way. I mean, there are some arguments for open carry that, you know, maybe more of a visual deterrent. You know, maybe somebody might think twice, going, well, you know, that guy's definitely, you know, armed, so maybe. But yeah, I still like the idea of keeping them guessing. But I can see both sides, you know. So I can't really argue with either way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, I had this conversation with Rick Friday night, and you know, and I have this conversation with people all the time because I'm a redneck, and my people, they're my people. Okay, they may not be the brightest string of Christmas lights you have, but they're my people, right? So sometimes the open carry thing for them is a, yeah, you know, I'm a badass thing. But after Helene, there were reasons to have a show of force, right? There were reasons. You should. I didn't have much of a problem with that, but what I tell Rick and other people, if you're open carrying, I'm not a bad guy, so I don't know how bad guys think. I don't know what they think, but I know what I would think if I decided to become a bad guy. If I walk in that liquor store to rob it and see you open carrying, I'm going to bust the cap in you right out of the gate,
Right?
and I'm going to have a gun for each hand. Okay, so I say concealed carry whether the sign says no guns or not. It's another charge, right? You're alive in a cell or dead in a hole. You know, again, your call. But yeah, Rick and I had a long conversation about that, and I see that. Thank you, DB Cooper. I'm going to look at that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's funny, man. Faraday cages and Second Amendment stuff gets people's attention pretty quick. It's pretty funny what, you know, the chat's going nuts.
Yeah.
Talking about Faraday cages and open and concealed carry. So, yeah, it's those two things really get your attention. But yeah, and I appreciate, you know, I just cut a video about what I don't know about EMPs, and believe me, it's a lot. It's a lot. But you know, when we're talking about concealed carry, yes, your weapon's it's not as easy to draw, but it's a training issue. Okay.
Right.
So go to the range and look. Well, when we have my son on, I'll let him really get into that. But let me tell you, he would jerk your shirt off. I mean, you jerk that shirt up. I mean, just get that thing out of your way, you know. But if you're going to conceal carry, you need to practice taking your seatbelt off too.
Oh yeah.
You know, because if you got it, it's way different. Look, if you open carry, if you do anything with a weapon in your car and you think you need to bail out and get to work, you need to train on that, right? Yeah, and I use a chest carry when I'm hiking. I have one in my go bag so that when I put my go bag on, I've got it here instead of trying to get around my belt on my go bag.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so when on y'all's go bags, are you set up to Second Amendment all the way home? I know you are, but I'd like to hear your setups. How about you, David Dawg?
So on my chest rig that I have obviously a holster that I can put mine on because of the bag with the hip pads and everything. And it would be hard to retrieve your firearm. So I do have a chest holster along with my other magazines and whatnot. Obviously, I will be open carrying at that point with my longer range stuff. And I have the extra magazines and everything there. So, you know, I have So before I had my old canteens and everything on the side, and they've come out with new technology, and they've been out for a while. So the Camelback, so I got that in my bag already set, so I don't have to worry about that. So, but yeah, I have it pretty fairly accessible if needed.
Nice.
So yeah, cool. How about you, Ohio?
Yeah, there's like he was saying with the technology, there's some pretty good setups out there nowadays. Now I just have my sidearm for my get home bag because I'm not going that far, so it's not like a bug out type situation. But yeah, I mean, if we're going, if it's going to be a where we're taking the full pack and going, then yeah, I got my my sidearm and my long gun, my rifle, and extra magazines and whatnot, and yeah, so and at that point in time there is no such thing as open carry or not. I mean, you're definitely going to be open carry, and so
yeah, that's Rural. I'm sure you've got a really cool setup.
Oh yeah, I don't know about cool. For me, I decided a long time ago, and again, 2A is touchy because everybody has their own opinion on what what it is and all that. I carry a certain sidearm for my everyday carry, and then in my go bag is the same exact one, just with a lot more magazines to go with it. So that way I have backup if anything has ever happened and something breaks, or if I need more firepower or whatever. That's just my rationale on what I do, but that's just to get me home. That's my everyday carry, my get home bag.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I dig it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm set up to carry. I've actually even purchased a pistol caliber carbine that folds up to put in my backpack also. So yeah, I'll be traveling home ready to rock too.
right.
But again, my wife and I went through our go bags this weekend, and the carrying the water thing, man, that is a very and look, she and I, we live in the same house for 36 years, right? We have two different ideas on. Well, we have two different needs. She's not me and I'm not her, and she can't carry what I carry, right? So her needs were different, and because I've made go bag videos, you've made go bag videos, everybody's made go bag videos, but we made our go bag video,
right?
Put yourself in somebody else's shoes and then make your go bag, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea because you guys have seen my wife. She's a tiny little thing.
Yeah,
she's not going to carry 40 or 50 pounds of stuff in her pack. It just ain't going to happen. That's not going to happen. So yeah, that's a good idea. JS Genesis actually had a question.
Yeah. Where's it at? Hold on, I'll catch up.
Yeah, up a little bit.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There you go, Devil Dog. Where'd you get the name at Devil Dog Prepper? I know, but it's okay.
Yeah. So I was in the Marine Corps for 12 years, so that's where the Devil Dog comes from. And there were several other Marines out there that had the name Devil Dog, D-O-G, so I spelled dog different, and there you go.
You spelled dog correct, sir. That's how we come in North Kakalaki.
There you go.
We got dogs. So, but no, man, I love it. I knew where it come from, but yeah, that's a good question, JS Genesis. That's everybody loves Marines. All right, here we go. What's QV saying here? Yeah. That's again, QV. That's going down that Second Amendment rabbit hole, and we all live in free America here. And I mean, I'm not going to speak for them, but I can tell you what everybody else here feels about magazine restrictions. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just dumbassery.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, Wolfgang.
Kane had a good question too.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did he?
Yeah,
I got to get on this, dudes.
couple spots up above CUCB.
Y'all do know I'm from North Carolina, right? I don't read real well. Is that it?
No.
Ask it again, Kane. Shit, shoot.
I see it.
Yep.
What does it
Right
say?
above.
Read it.
CC cartridge of choice, DDP.
Ah.
Yep.
Well, what is it?
So, I mean, I carry a Glock 19.
Millimeter.
Well, see, and I have that for two different reasons, because I have a EMP 9. It's a AR platform 9mm, and it takes Glock magazines as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I have two different weapons with the same magazine. Now, when I carry in my Glock for my concealed weapons or my CCW, it fits it, but I don't like using that. So I have what they call the candy bars, the 33 or 34 rounders that I have as well. So it just gives you a little bit more range. It's not as long as obviously ARs, but it gives you a little longer range than your pistol. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How about you, Will? What caliber is your concealed carry choice?
I'm right in his boat. For me, on a personal choice, I think 9mm is best, just because with the current technology and double stack and the weight and being able to conceal and all that. So I go 9.
Yep, me too. I'm right there with you. And another part of the reason that I do is because my wife's is the same, so the same caliber. Same caliber, so we don't have to buy different caliber rounds, and so
yeah. So and look, my concealed carry choice is Glock 30 FS. Yeah, Kane, man, he's something, dude. But Glock 30 comes in 45 caliber. I'm a huge 45 guy. I always have been my whole life. If they made a 46, I would carry a 46. Okay, but I like, and yes, love and life, exactly. But yeah, I carry 45, and again, I'm not going to be doing any battlefield pickups because nobody else is carrying it. But I try to bring enough magazines to get home. And we call those big mags, me and my son, Devil Dog, we call them crowd control mags. Mm-hmm. So when you got a bunch coming, you just start popping. And but yes, love and life shotgun for home defense. How about y'all? We're all of an age. Let's talk about shotguns. I find the older I get, the more I'm attached to my shotgun. It has become my weapon of choice, big time. How about y'all? How about you, Devil Dog? You a big shotgun guy?
I am, and obviously, and I haven't in a while, but I do like to hunt when needed. I'm trying to look to see here. I got a new shotgun for the home defense, so it's like a bullpup short barrel shotgun.
Yeah, those are cool.
But I got my normal hunting shotguns like most people do. So
yeah. You shotgun guy, Ohio Valley?
Yeah, mine's a little shorter. It's pretty much just for home defense because, like, you wake me up in the middle of the night, I can't see straight for a while, so I don't have to worry about my aim so much. If you're in the hallway and I'm somewhere aiming down that way, I'm gonna get you. So
yeah. You a shotgun guy, Rural?
Watch me. I'm gonna be the devil's advocate. I am not. I have shotguns. I even did my review where I bought my brand new Benelli, and I'm proud of my stuff. But for home defense, and it might just be the training I've got and things like that, to navigate doorways the way that most people have to shoulder and go above your shoulder to keep aim and to maneuver and all that. Now, if we go Devil Dog's way where you have that bullpup, yeah, that's a much shorter, easier to maneuver and all that. For me, I'm probably still sweeping with probably a sidearm or something if I'm inside.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm a huge shotgun guy, and I'm with Devil Dog. The bullpups really shorten down the shotgun, so you can actually clear rooms with them now. But I have one of each. I'm a huge shotgun guy, and I'm getting worse. But yeah, I love my shotguns, and I'm actually setting up a chest rig. I hope to review it soon. A chest rig for my limited property patrol. That so I can walk my property lines with the shotgun. But Wolfgang, you better get in a club, boy.
Yeah. Now remember, if you're
Shotgun guys are cool.
If you're in Ohio, you have to drag them in the house afterwards.
Well, we don't have to do that in North Carolina. I can just call them and show them where you're at.
If they're outside, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah. But that's another the castle protect your castle laws. You know,
Yep.
That's a big deal in a lot of states too. Again, it's that Second Amendment stuff is it's very touchy. It's very iffy in every state. So, I mean, you know, North Carolina's always been a pretty gun-friendly state, and Ohio has too. And in the South, man, you're pretty gun-friendly everywhere. But
Yeah.
you can get into some situations traveling across country where you think you're good and you're not good. So definitely do that research on. And it's not just the fact that you can or can't carry a gun. This is a hell of a good point, QV. And when we get Murmur Press on, I want y'all to ask all these kinds of security questions because he is for sure a security expert.
Yeah.
And but yes, you need to be very careful firing a firearm in your home. Sheetrock and studs do strange things to bullets. PJ, good to see you. They will make bullets do things that they don't normally do. So yeah, you need to be real careful about popping off inside your home.
Yeah.
Yep. I had the very big privilege of taking a kind of once in a lifetime training opportunity where they had specialized bullets that had that kind of paintball tip.
Yep.
And they gave you your scenario and you went in to try and do your stuff. And at the end of it, you suddenly realized, one, what ricochet meant, and two, what is beyond that target, because all of a sudden you're shooting at something, and when you walk over there after the scenario is over, you just hit an oxygen tank or something like that you didn't even know was back there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That's that's why police train so much in clearing rooms, and they use the wax bullets. There's a lot, and you know, we talked about this the other night, us guys, when we were, you know, practicing clearing your home. Do you do that, Devil Dog? Do you practice clearing your house and from the inside, from coming in from work and going out to work? Do you ever do that?
I don't think I've ever done it with my weapons. I've done walkthroughs, you know, like dry runs and stuff like that. Yeah. I've done it in the dark to where there's no lights on without flashlights and anything like that. You know, you know your house best. You know, so it's a lot easier. I've thought of different places, you know, to stand behind or whatever if you're in an open area to where, you know, you have some kind of a concealment or whatever. So yeah, but no, I've never done it with an actual weapon. So
yeah, well, you get yourself a blue gun and do it. But you ever tried it, Ohio Valley?
No, no.
Yeah.
I did when I lived out west. My house got broken into once, and I came home and immediately knew something was wrong because the animals were acting strange.
Mhm.
So, but the people were gone by the time I got there, and it wasn't an issue. But you know, I have enough animals that if I walk in and they're not being themselves, I know something's wrong. You know, so they give it away.
Yeah. How about you, Rural? You
Yeah,
ever cleared your own house?
yeah. I mean that's usually what the night of Taco Bell is. We clear the house pretty well that way, but
Yeah, different kind of clearing I'm talking
oh,
about.
okay. No, I've done it when I've been home alone. It's
Yeah.
good practice.
Yeah.
With the little one in the house and stuff, I know it's not an excuse and it needs to be done, but yeah, that's probably a good idea to put in the plan.
Yeah. It's well, it will point out to you where someone else can hide.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and again, you know your home better than anybody, right? Anybody coming in. So it's just good training, man. Again, you know, we talk about testing our preps and all that all the time, right?
Mhm.
You know, security is one of our big preps. We've all got lots of money tied up in security for
Yep.
our preps. And, you know, we need to practice that security.
CUTV brings up a good.
Hey, Publishers Clearinghouse here, Ken Corso.
CUTV Barber brought up a good point. Says if your house is close to another house, you don't want the ammo to leave your house and go into the neighbor's house.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good point. I mean,
Well, that's
them,
you know,
them,
good weapon safety, man. You just have
Yeah.
to practice that.
AR rounds like to travel through a lot of stuff before they stop sometimes. So, you know.
I mean, I know Devil Dog had a hard ass weapons instructor, and if you flag somebody else on the range, you might be picking your butt up off the ground. But
Yes.
you know, that again, it goes back to training, guys. I mean, you know,
Absolutely.
I mean, you still train a lot, Devil Dog, or well, do you? I realize a lot's kind of a loaded word, but
This last year has kind of put a stop in a lot of my training, just recovering from brain surgery and everything. So I'm slowly getting back into it, but you know, going through the training that I have and you have being in the Marines and especially deploying to Iraq, we had some even more intense training, clearing rooms and stuff like that. So it's always in your head. It's like riding a bike. I think. I mean, you might be a little rusty at first, but you know the principles and everything about it. You know, so you know as far as if you're having to clear your own house or something happens in your house, you know, obviously make sure you know where your people are, because that would be horrible. Someone broke into your house and you take out one of your family members thinking that they were the bad guys when they weren't. So
that would be
you
bad.
know, that would be my first thought would be to make sure, and obviously it's easy for me because there's only two of us in the house. So anybody else besides that, and if she's not beside me, then I know that the other people are not supposed to be in that house. So
Right. You still you get to the range very often there, Rural?
Yeah, not as much as I want to. I know back when I did privatized security, we actually had to do active shooter training, and we had to do different training on how to identify you're a friendly. You know, if something goes on and somebody comes in, and then we had to also do the active shooter ones that there's maybe one bad guy and 12 people in there, and you've got to find the one bad guy and differentiate from the little kid hiding under the desk, you know, and then all. And I tell you, that is a whole thing that'll change your world.
Yeah, that adds a lot of stress to that situation.
Yeah.
You get to kick it at the range, OVP?
Not as much as I'd like. I was just talking to the wife about that while we were over at the cookout today, saying we need to go get to the range. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And I definitely like to get her there. because the more rounds she goes through, the more comfortable she gets,
Right.
and so
yeah.
I need to get out there soon. Actually,
I tell my son all the time, I haven't fired a shot in anger in days, son. We need to go somewhere and blast some.
Right.
I got $100 burning a hole in my pocket.
I do have something to say about so we were talking about the CCW. So my wife is totally she's like, oh, you have it, we're good, whatever. I'm like, well, we're not always together,
Right.
And so even though Ohio is a concealed carry state, you don't need a permit for it. I still suggest, even if your state is open carry, to still go through that class. And I can tell her all day long, all the safety rules of that I learned in the Marine Corps and everything. And I was grandfathered in the CCW permit, so I didn't have to go through the class. I've been through it enough. But even if you have the opportunity, I would still suggest go through it, because there's more than just what people think in those classes. You learn the different laws and when you can use your weapon and stuff like that. I keep my permit up because I can have the reciprocity in other states, but it's also good for people to take that class just to know when they can use that force.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes your wife would, like my wife, I can tell her too, but if she hears it from somebody else, it sinks in better. You know what I mean? So that's a good point.
Yeah, I keep mine up to date just because the way that laws work. 1 minute it's, hey, we're 2A, and the next minute they pull it and go, you better have your stuff.
Right.
I'm covered either way. I'm good.
Yep.
Yeah, my wife and I both have concealed carry, and it in North Carolina, it just makes it so much easier. Here you can purchase a long gun without a permit. But if you purchase a handgun, you have to go to your sheriff's department and get a permit. And if you have a concealed carry, you don't have to go get the permit. You can go straight into the gun store, go through the background check, and leave with whatever you like to leave with.
Yeah.
So it's good to have for that reason. But a lot of times, in just my opinion, and I'd like to hear y'all's opinion about it. And I know every concealed carry class isn't created equal, but it's a really good place for you to learn the laws that are involved in concealed carry, and there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
And get yourself some training on what we're talking about: the concealed carry draw, actually firing your weapon. I'd like to know y'all's thoughts about it, Devil Dog.
Well, JD Trebinieri brought up a good comment. He said that he wishes they would offer an updated class laws change, and he's absolutely correct. I put that on me. I'm responsible for my education. You can't claim ignorance because you didn't know. Well, it's your responsibility when you're taking that firearm with you. You would better know the most up-to-date stuff. So it's fairly easy for me. You can go on the Attorney General's website or whatever website you want to use to find the up-to-date laws or whatever, and just keep an eye out on that stuff, so don't just go to your class and just think that, you're good forever. So, because World 2IC said, one day the people might say you can carry it concealed, and the next minute, no, you can't. So it's your responsibility to know the laws.
Yep.
Yeah. How you feel about that, Rural?
You definitely should. It's one of those things that classwork and training you really can't have too much of per se. And I was really, really thankful for mine. Mine is my local sheriff actually put it on. So, to ask him, hey, if you pull me over, what's going to happen? And he's going to be the one that pulls you over, sort of thing. But his first thing, as soon as class got down and they did roll call and all that, the very first lesson is what is a homicide and a justified homicide, because somebody's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not a stupid question, one man.
Right.
No way. Not a stupid question. No. And again, that's kind of, look, I dig it. If you're going to carry, carry. Okay. It's another charge, yes. In some states it's a felony, some states it's not. But you're going to carry, carry. But at the end of the day, the number one rule of survival is survive.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Right.
you're going to carry, carry. But I think my point on the concealed carry thing is, and I think the guys here on the panel too, the concealed carry lets you know your responsibilities, and you get some training that you need. But the important thing is you understand your responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
You have tremendous responsibility when you're carrying a firearm, open carry, concealed carry,
Yep.
whatever, defending your home, whatever. You have tremendous responsibility.
Yeah, and I think everybody should go through the class. I really do.
Yeah.
That's just
and again,
my opinion. I mean,
no, it's just when you take someone else's life, hoorah, Cane Corso, but when you take someone else's life, you didn't just affect your own life and his life, you affected your family's life and his family's life.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to understand the repercussions of it, because it takes a millisecond to pull the trigger. You're probably going to spend years in a courtroom after you do it, whether it's justified or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, having law enforcement in my family, we talk about that a lot. And again, anyway. So what this is here, I know you know the answer to this one. Yes. And Devil Dog, you probably learned this right out of the gate in your concealed carry class.
Oh, most definitely. And it brings up a good point, because I know when you applied for your CCW and you had to take the class and everything, obviously, like I said, I was grandfathered into it, but they give you a card and you keep it with you, and it tells you all the rules. And I don't believe in Ohio, and I'm going to check this after this live, but because it's a concealed carry state, I don't believe you have to say anything. But I do, because I have my permit, and the way I look at it is I have that permit, and to have that permit, you have to follow those rules. And I just think it's a good practice. I don't want to catch anybody off guard as far as a police officer. They're out there doing their job. You have good police officers, you have bad police officers. I'm going to give them a benefit of the doubt until they become bad, to let them know that I'm no harm to them.
right.
And so I'm going to tell them right away. I think last year my tags, I either didn't get my tags. I think that's what it was, because it was during my recovery, and I was like a day late on getting my tags, and the state trooper pulled me over, and I knew exactly when he pulled me over what he was pulling me over for. And he walked up to him, and the first thing out of my mouth was, that I'm a CCW holder. I have my weapon on my right hip. How would you like to proceed? And he's like, dude, you're good. And I think it's good that, I also have Marine Corps license plates, and I had stickers on my car, and a lot of troopers in Ohio are former Marines, so they former active duty, I should say. And so they get that. So, and he was cool about it. He actually let me go, said, because I was on my way to actually get the tags. So
yeah, I got a story similar to that too, but here's a good question right here. Rural, do you have concealed carry insurance?
I do, actually. And real quick, to circle back, I'm curious on you, because I know these guys live in Ohio. If you have your CCW in Ohio and it's valid, the second they run your plates, it flashes red. They already know before they get to your car.
Yes.
Yeah.
North Carolina's the same way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but
North Carolina's the same exact way.
I've got insurance. They kind of not really forced us, but heavily suggested being in privatized security to get insurance, just because it's one of those that a few dollars a month, and they go a long way for you.
Yeah, and even though it flashes up on their screen when they pull you over, I still think you should let them know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you don't, like we were saying, there's good cops and bad cops, and there's also some jumpy ones,
Mhm.
and there ain't no use getting in a situation you don't need to be in, right? So I would still.
Well, it's a good lesson to teach your children. And, my son,
Yeah.
we talk about this too. When I get pulled over, and believe me, I've been pulled over, just leave your hands on the damn steering wheel.
Yep.
Leave them up there. Don't make any sudden moves. And I told the state trooper in Florida that, sir, and he walked over to the passenger side of the car and he says, and I said, sir, I have a concealed carry from North Carolina and I have a loaded 357 Magnum stuck in my belt. And he says, well, sir, if you don't pull yours, I won't have to pull mine. Went on smiling. One of the best interactions I've had with a policeman in a long time.
Yep.
So, but yes, yes, blessed days. Yes, you need to know the carry laws in every state, whether they're reciprocal with your state or not. There's tons of that information available online. Before you travel, Google every state you're going to travel through.
Yep.
And proceed accordingly. But yes, that is a good comment and a good question because I mean I know you guys travel, I travel, and yeah, it's a good thing to know before you go.
Most definitely, and I went on a trip last year and going through Illinois. Now Illinois doesn't allow me to carry in that state per se. I can carry through it.
Yes.
As long if I have a CCW, they don't like if I'm going to stop and stay or whatever. I can't have it on me. I have to leave it in my car. But if I'm driving through it, I can have it concealed on me. Obviously, if I got pulled over, I would tell them the same thing and proceed however they wanted to. But as long as you're going through the state and you're not staying to, spending the night or stopping to sightsee or whatever, and don't take my word for it. You gotta look at every state. I mean, before I went through Illinois, because they're not a reciprocal state, I looked it up, and as a matter of fact, I even stopped to get coffee and gas, and there was a police officer there, and obviously I left it in my truck. Because Illinois was not a state to take it in there, and I had asked him about it, and he was one of the guys that had told me as long as you're traveling through and not stopping, then you're good. So.
Yeah. My wife took hers to Florida, but we went through the route they were going, and of course she was going through a bunch of redneck states, so I knew she was probably pretty good. So.
Yeah. But I think your wife should have been fine in every state that she went through.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was. But I looked anyway just to make sure, But
always good to do that. But blessed days. My wife is from Kentucky, and when you get to Kentucky, they will issue you a firearm if you don't have one. I'm just saying. No, I'm kidding. They don't give away guns in Kentucky, okay? Or Texas. They don't do that. But they are 2A people in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So, but cool place. But,
yeah. I'm going to 2A my dog before this is over.
yeah, they're getting a little rowdy.
It's the big one. My wife left, so now I'm up here and he can't get up, and it's killing him. It's just killing him. He can't stand it.
Yeah, there's a good one too. Talking about 2A stuff, that flying with a firearm. Definitely something you better check with your airline, the TSA. There are a lot of stupid rules on that.
Yeah. Now in Alaska, though, if you don't take a firearm, they may actually issue one.
Yes. So, there are places in Alaska. What's that damn creek? They're always fishing. You see the guys fishing with the grizzly bears with them. What's the name of that creek? It's right outside of Homer, Alaska.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But
you are required to carry a firearm, and it has to be a big caliber.
Yeah.
To go fishing there.
Yeah. You're going to stop one of them bears with, something small.
Well, we're real used to black bears. Grizzly's a whole different animal.
Yeah. You actually don't have
using a 9mm on one of them, and it'd be like throwing a stone. You know?
Yeah, right.
All you're gonna do
You
is
might
piss
piss
off.
him
All
off.
you gotta do is make him mad. Yeah,
Yeah. That's the last thing you want to do is piss off a grizzly bear.
right. Because if he
They're pretty
wasn't
much
thinking
naturally pissed off right out of the gate.
right, and if he wasn't going to eat you before that, he's
Yeah.
definitely going to eat you after
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Mhm.
They just wake up pissed off.
right.
But yeah, that's a good discussion. I didn't realize we would go down the 2A rabbit hole tonight.
Well, that's a great thing about the show. We don't know where we're going.
Yeah.
You know, that's up to the chat. So
Yeah. I mean, I didn't realize that, but again, it's important to the people that do what we do.
Mhm.
Their firearms are important, and I understand why we expend the energy we expend keeping up with our Second Amendment rights.
Mhm.
I mean, it's completely understandable. But yeah, I had no idea that's what we were. I figured somebody would be talking to you, Devil Dog, about container gardening tonight. That's what I
Mhm.
figured.
yeah,
I mean, I just knew there would be that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
how
they-
is your garden doing, by the way?
Oh man, holy crap! This last week and a half has been 90,
Mhm.
95 plus degrees every single day, and my tomato plants are just skyrocketing. I mean, they are just going nuts. My cucumbers are going crazy.
Yeah.
I lost a couple plants, but I got backup in my garden. So
Yeah. Holy moly. Oh, wait a minute. That ain't the one I meant to click on. Jumping the Jesus. Show and tell.
That's
You
what it
moved
was.
to North
That's what it
Carolina. It
was.
only got to 89. Of course, we had 94% humidity, but
yeah. She's in Arizona, so
it's a dry heat. Go ahead and say
right.
it. Show and tell.
It is a dry heat.
Yeah.
I
Still
lived in
freaking hot.
Southern.
Yeah, I
Nevada.
was just gonna say that
Yeah, when it gets
100 degrees anywhere is still hot.
Mhm.
now in Southern Nevada without any humidity, if it was 100 degrees out, it didn't feel that bad. And if you got in the shade, it was nice and cool. Now, once you say it was 117 today, when it gets up,
that's what Show and Tell said. 117.
when it gets up into the 110s and that, it's kind of like turning on the oven and then sticking your head in,
Yeah.
So but
Yeah, I saw every one of them, Kane.
Mhm.
Yeah, and by the way, I do enjoy your new Savage there. My son has almost the same setup in 308, and if y'all haven't checked out Kane Corso,
Mhm.
that's a Second Amendment guy right there now, dude.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, that's probably not going to happen, Cute V. Let's just ask that question.
Okay.
Let's just ask that question. Devil Dog, are you going to be in a pile of empty shell casings on your front porch when they come to take your firearms away?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know what the answer is to you guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think everybody kind of feels the same way.
Yeah. the fact that I'm so well, look, you know what I'm saying, Devil Dog. When you take an oath and you swear on your honor, and honor is important to a Marine. When you swear on your sacred honor that you will defend the Constitution of the United States, Second Amendment is pretty damn important. It's number 2, right? So I tell my family and friends all the time, when y'all read about it in the newspaper or see it on the news, don't think I'm a crazy right-wing wacko. That's not me.
Yeah.
Know that I died doing what I believe is right.
Mhm.
And it's not because of crazy. It's because of honor. And, just don't believe they have the right to take it away from me. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think they'd ever try that. Not nationwide, because there's too many redneck states. Like, I want to see them go through
Well,
Texas.
they would be outnumbered 100 to 1.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's more civilians with guns than the military and police put together, times 10.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, could you imagine them going through West Virginia and Arkansas and I mean the Texas and well, pretty much, all the Ohio, all the way down there, and there's no way.
No.
They'd run out of agents or whatever. There wouldn't be anybody left to take them.
Yeah. Yeah.
There'd be a lot of missing
again,
people, but
that's most, and I know a lot of policemen and a lot of Marines. They're not going to obey that command to start with.
right.
That's an unlawful order, and they're not going to obey it. Most people aren't. But,
they're not going to obey it because they're going to go, I ain't going down there and asking them for their guns. You got to be crazy.
Yeah.
Even if they thought it was a good idea, they ain't going to do it.
Right.
So, and a lot of it too, go get to know your local sheriff. Like literally, just stop by, or if you see him somewhere, pay for his cup of coffee. Hey, do you have a few minutes? We can chit chat. You can learn so much from them. I recently was sitting there talking to one while we were waiting on some coffee, and I asked him if martial law was to ever happen, and he laughed before I can get my question out. And he goes, "Have you seen riots? They can't hold a city. How are you going to hold a country?"
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
well,
that's
I grew up in this little town here, so I actually went to high school with my sheriff. So I'd say we've met.
Yeah, and that's every small town. But the Constitution guarantees sheriffs certain rights that don't belong to even the federal government. Okay, so yes, get to know your sheriff. Do more than get to know them. Offer to help. You don't have to be out serving warrants to help out the sheriff's department. Okay, you don't have to do that. There's tons of ways you can help the sheriff's department. So, look, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. So questions are kind of falling off. I want to thank Devil Dog Prepping for showing up tonight. Awesome conversation. Glad you got here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're welcome anytime you want to come. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
And we will have you back, I hope. But again, closing comments, Devil Dog.
I was having a conversation about this before. This whole preparedness journey can get tiresome and you can get burnt out real quick. So, when you start feeling that way, take a break and get back at it at a later date. If not, you're going to get to the point where you're not going to want to do it no more. And if you don't realize this, there's nobody going to come and help you. So you need to make sure that you're ready for whatever may happen. And that's on you. So,
Yeah. Rural.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to exactly what Devil Dog said right there. If you get that burnt out feeling, at least what I give advice and what's helped me is find one of these guys, because who's better to fire you up than somebody who's already fired up, right? Hey man, I'm feeling a little down about this, and they go, hey, let's go to the range. Let's go, do this. Let's go do that. And then it sometimes will fire you right back up. So, if you need to take a break. Otherwise, find that fire and light it again.
No doubt. Ohio Valley?
I just want to say prayers for the firefighters out in Utah. And did you guys hear about that?
Yep.
Okay. And that's a good example of where you really got it. The world's going crazy, guys. You got to keep your head on a swivel. These guys got called out to a fire. They went to do their job, not expecting to be in, having freedom seeds flying their way while they were doing it. So just, stay on your guard, guys. Situational awareness, pay attention. Just be careful out there.
Yeah. Well, thank you all, gentlemen, for showing up tonight. It's been a wonderful conversation. I hope we entertained, but I hope we educated. And yeah, look, all you YouTube creators, if you need to take a break, take a break. Your people will be there when you're done taking your break. I've done it. Everybody's done it. So take a break if you need a break, but don't take a break from your prepping. Don't take a break from your survival. And yeah, rural 2IC. Sometimes you get inspiration from places you didn't. You know, I've been a little tired myself, and you know, my wife has like reignited her fire, and she's got me thinking about things that I quit thinking about. So yeah, find your inspiration. Devil Dog, find your inspiration, Ohio Valley Prepping. Find your inspiration, Rural Type 2IC. But thank you all for tuning in. God bless you. We'll meet backstage, guys, after this is over. But good night, everyone. Thank you for showing up.
I think I'm going to shoot my wife's dog now.
And